Hello guys, so today I have a question for you all. Which of these two knives do you think is stronger? This one right here or this one right here? So let's this. There's pins in there. See the tang? Or you think this knife is stronger? If you had to choose one, which one would you take in the wild? Which one do you think would serve you better in a tactical fighting situation? Which one is less likely to break on you? If you guessed this one, you're wrong. You see, the thing is, fixed blades, or this right here is a fixed blade, and this right here is a folder. The thing with fixed blades is, you can get a much stronger fixed blade at a much lower price than you can get a folder. And fixed blades in general are much stronger, obviously. You mean, if it's full tang, and as long as there's not like just a rod that runs through the tang, which I've seen on some knives, I've seen on daggers and shelf swords, and as long as it's not like a really cheap and crappy like dollar store kitchen knife versus like a Cold Steel Espada or something, then I can guarantee you a fixed blade will almost always be stronger than a folder at a much lower price. Because, I mean, you could buy like a $25 fixed blade that could easily be stronger than a $400 folder, even a $500 folder. And the reasons for that is A, a fixed blade is full tang. Right? It's full tang, the blade runs all the way through the handle, as you can see here. This one even has like little pins, like brass pins, holding the blade to the handle and holding the pieces together. This is very secure. This probably isn't going to break anytime soon. And this here, this is held on, first of all, by a little thing in the middle, the pivot, and then this lock bar, and you'll notice the lock bar disengages. I don't know how I'm going to get this on camera, but the lock bar disengages like that, you see, and it folds in. So this does not run all the way through. This just swings freely on that, on the pivot, until the lock bar comes in. That can be broken quite easy. It's not one piece. This is just one piece. It's a solid construction. Now, it does not matter if you have a Cold Steel Triad lock. It does not matter if you have a Benchmade Axis lock, and it does not even matter if you have a Balisong or a butterfly knife. A fixed blade, as long as it's not like really super cheap, like dollar store quality kitchen knife, a fixed blade will almost always be structurally more sound. Now, that does not mean that the blade itself is stronger, because I'm sure you can get a blade out of tool steel for a folder and a blade made of like really cheap stainless steel for a fixed blade, and then the blade itself would be much stronger on the folder. But overall, like the locking mechanism and so forth, the fixed blade's still going to be a lot stronger. Because where most knives fail is, well, it holds it together around the pivot, around like this area right here where I'm like holding the two fingers. See, around that area with the pivot and lock bar and everything that holds it together, that will start to develop right and left blade play if you use it too hard, and then up and down blade play, and then it's, sort of not going to be a reliable knife. The lock won't work for you. It's just going to break. Right here, it may not be the case. If I really try to use this hardened baton, which I don't think this knife was meant to do. Like, it might start to wiggle a bit, but it's still gonna keep, it's gonna happen much slower than for any other knife. And a lot of you might think, why? Why is it that you can get so much stronger of a fixed blade at such a lower price than a folder? Well, the reason is that folders are just a lot harder to make. You look at knife makers on YouTube or on the internet, almost all of them start out making fixed blades because it's so easy. You cut out or you hand forge the blade with the tang, and then you find some way of securing the handle pieces to it, like cutting them and securing them. It's the first knives ever made. Like, for thousands of years, they only had fixed blades. Alright, it's what they had in the Stone Age with flint and obsidian knives. It's really what they had into early American history. They only had fixed blades. And so, yeah, and the first folders didn't have locks or pocket clips or anything like that. So, the first folders were simply used to, like, cut out paper or something whenever you needed. They weren't used to do much. Well, not like paper, just, like boxes, whatever, rope. But, yeah, fixed blades have been around for ever, pretty much. Like, since the beginning of humanity, there have been fixed blades. What's something else? The tolerances, obviously, on a folder, you've got to get all this to line up. The lock, how far it is apart, to make sure that, the blade is properly centered, and to make sure, if that's something you really care about, but, like, just to make sure it's all good. Unless the blade isn't centered at all, I don't really care. Is in the right place, holding it together so that it'll open up, it'll lock, and there will not be blade play. But on this, it's pretty easy. You just put the handle scales on and you tighten it somehow. And it's simple. If you look at this side, not that side, this side, and you look closely, you'll notice that that's not even at all. And although, that the looks kind of bug you, it doesn't hinder the structural integrity at all. Like, the brass right there is uneven, if you haven't noticed already. But, it's great. So, that being said, if you can get a way stronger fixed blade for a way cheaper price, it's easier to make, there's less tight tolerances involved. Why? Why do people typically use these folding knives and not fixed blades? Well, the answer is simple. This has a clip. Well, not always, but they have a clip, but it's easy to put in your pocket. It folds, whether it has a lock or not, but when it does have a lock, it's good and it works, and it's strong enough to do whatever you need to do, which typically is not going to be batoning or anything like that, splitting logs, unless you have, like, I don't know, like a really strong cold steel or something like that, which I still wouldn't really trust. That's, to me, if you absolutely need it in like a last-ditch effort, then you'd use it. But anyways, yeah, it's easier to carry. You can get more blade, again, for something easy to carry, because it just folds up. For a fixed blade here, you've got to have a sheath if you want to carry it, and then wear it on your belt. It's harder to conceal. The cops might have a problem with that. The cops might have a problem with both of these knives, but if you can conceal one, you'd get in more trouble if you did get caught, but you probably wouldn't get caught, and they need reasonable doubt to check you. You can't just check random people. It's a part of like the Fourth Amendment. But anyways, yeah, so it's definitely in a lot of cases more convenient to go with the folder. It just is for some people for the everyday tasks, because they don't typically need a really strong knife. Now, they do try to make folders as strong as they can, and that's understandable. You never know when you're going to need something really strong, why not try to make that as easy to carry as possible, you know? But at the end of the day, the fixed blade wins out in strength, and the folder wins out in convenience and everyday use and so forth, because you don't really need a fixed blade to open your boxes or cut whatever. So that is all for this video. Auf Wiedersehen.